Um, Watchfire has been in business for 87 years, Bob. And for 87 years, we've been doing the same thing. And that may sound strange to you because we weren't making LED signs 87 years ago. But what we were doing was making animated sign products and selling them through our reseller channel of sign companies. You see pictures of some old neon signs where the guy in the tuxedo is smoking the cigar, and you can see him raise the cigar up to his lips and then blow out a halo of smoke. The animate that's called chaser technology, and basically the chaser activates different parts of the neon sign to create motion. Totally different hardware than an LED sign, but at the end of the day, it's an animated advertising tool. We did the movie marquee type signs, the Vegas marquees, where you would have different color light bulbs moving in different patterns to create animation on the marquees. That was the same type technology. So even back then, like I said, we were selling animated sign products through our resale partners, the sign companies. From that time, we got up and did time and temp units back in the day. We actually, our name used to be Time-O-Matic. And, as mundane as those can be, there was a reason all those banks used those. And the idea was top of the mind advertising. If a bank had a time and temp sign on it, people driving by had an 80% recall rate what the name of the bank was, because they looked at the sign to see what the time and temp was. If you didn't have a time temp, you had about a 20% recall rate. So that was how that technology worked. From there, we used incandescent light bulb electronic message center signs that used incredible amounts of power, but they worked. We evolved into monochrome LED signs in the late 90s. And then I believe in 2003 did our first color sign. And, now we're doing 6mm outdoor signs and 1.2mm indoor signs and sports scoreboards and everything in between. One thing that changed, and we were privately held until 2007, and we were purchased by a venture capital company. And the venture capital company expanded the factory, invested in new products, and our sales really started to take off at that point. And that was a big. The culture has remained the same, but the infusion of equity and really gave us a platform to grow as a company and increase our presence in the industry. A big difference with Watchfire that we take very seriously. And, I was a Watchfire dealer before I worked for Watchfire, and I didn't even understand the importance of this. And probably because for a number of years I flipped around and used a lot of different brands. But we really do treat our relationship with the resale partner differently, I think, than anybody else does. And why that is because our resale partner is our customer. In other words, Guthman Signs is our customer. Guthman Signs can sell a Watchfire sign to a church. That church is the end user. We want the end user to have a good experience. But if the end user has a good experience and our dealer has a bad experience, that's not good. In other words, if the sign is hard to install, it takes longer to install it. If there are designs, we used to do rear ventilated signs, and we would put on the quotes specific directions on how much ventilation they needed, and what the airflow, how many CFMs of air was needed, and everything. And time after time, sign companies would not install that properly. And 5-6 years down the road, the sign would start crapping out and losing modules. And we'd go in to see what the problem was. And of course, there's no airflow behind the sign, improper ventilation. Well, it's not our fault, but can we go to the church and say, oh, sorry, it's not our fault. Guthman installed it wrong. You're probably not going to be very happy with us if we did that. And you're probably not going to use another Watchfire sign. So what did we do? We designed front ventilation products. In other words, instead of relying on, we basically made the sign company's life easier. And that's just one example, but that's something that we do. The better job we do for you, invariably the end user is going to have a better experience and, be a reference for you, maybe expand. But we take the relationship with our dealers very serious, and that is you're our customers, and I think that's something that we do a little bit differently. Another thing we do is we have a help desk in Danville, Illinois, and any sign company or end user that calls about a problem with their sign, the calls are documented to where we can see if there's a pattern of a problem. We can see that if well, I'll give you a great example. I had a sign company call me up that had just gotten berated by a credit union because they called Watchfire and Watchfire couldn't help them with the sign and blah, going on. And he's like, that's not like you guys. You guys have good service. So I got online and looked, and they were using RWF antennas from a remote location, plugging it into their network. The IT guy called several times, and we kept telling him, you got to go to the sign end antenna and see if we can ping that. And he didn't, the ball was in his court and he never did anything. So when the sign company went out to see them, he knew the facts. He wasn't getting blindsided. And in fact, we ended up converting them to broadband, and the end user was real happy and bought another sign at another location. But I'm just saying, it's another example of how we're supporting you guys in the field. If the help desk, if 93% of the calls aren't answered in 5 minutes, we add a person to the bank, and all those people are trained. They're not reading from a manual. A lot of them come from the hardware division, but everybody on that desk could basically work for a sign company. We have inside sales that are very experienced. That if a sign company calls up to get a quote, if it's in the morning, you should have a quote no later than the afternoon. A lot of times, if it's urgent, you can have a quote within an hour or two. That's another way. We do the software training for you with they can get a webinar, which some people don't think that sounds very good, but it's a live webinar. You're sharing a computer screen, you're talking on the phone, and it's a formal training program that these people do 5 days a week. So it's a very very good experience. All the engineering is under one roof there. So when we design new products, we can test them live with the service department, with everybody involved, from design, service, fabrication is right there. And I mean, we'll get to it later. I'll explain some of the advantages of the product that we've engineered into it. But having everybody under one roof really makes a difference as well. In our factory in Danville, Illinois, which is where we've been for over 85 years, we employ over 350 people. And I think one of the things that really sets us apart is the fact that we conceive, develop, engineer, test, manufacture, market, and service our digital products all from one facility. So if engineering is looking at developing brightness in a 6 millimeter SMD product. They can build the product, test the product, and revise the product all under one roof under real conditions. You know, we have a testing lab with accelerated failure testing that we can use. Customer service. If one of our customers has a module go out on a board, and they see a problem, 2 or 3 signs are having the same problem, service can go to engineering. They can pull the batch number and look at the test results from those, and troubleshoot and see if there is something that was missed. I mean, hopefully there wasn't, but all that data and all the people, all the way through the manufacturing product process and the service, design, engineering is all under one roof. Engineering is all in one section. So they have meetings, they've got their product development, and everything is, there's a lot of synergy developed from this. You know, we're not subcontracting things out and not understanding what we're getting. So, you know, that really helps a lot. The other thing is, you know, we've got all the records. We've got over 65,000 signs installed across the country. Every one of those signs has a history that they can go back and look at, to check and see if there's an abnormal issue, or if they make a change in manufacturing, does that increase the longevity of the product? Does that improve the product? So that's in my mind, that's a big differentiator.